She always believed you'd stay, not because you promised it, but because your consistency made her feel certain. In her world, you were the emotional anchor, silent, steady, and always available. But something shifted. You didn't explode. You didn't beg. You simply walked away with calm, not chaos. And that silence? It hit her harder than any words ever could. What she once took for granted is now gone. If you've ever been in this place, or you're there right now, this video will speak directly to you. So before we dive deep into the quiet power of detachment and what she feels when you truly move on, make sure you subscribe to Stoic 95 and tap the bell icon so you never miss out on content that strengthens your mind, rebuilds your power, and helps you rise like a true Stoic. Number 1. The power of emotional detachment. There's a strength in stepping back that many men never learn to recognize. It's not loud or flashy. It doesn't seek validation through words or social media posts. When you decide to stop orbiting emotionally around someone who has already let go, you're not giving up, you're reclaiming your peace. Most men mistake this withdrawal for weakness because they confuse emotional availability with loyalty or love. They replay old messages, analyze silence, and wait for signs that may never come. But real power is in choosing yourself over the endless chase, in refusing to let your mood be controlled by someone who has moved on. When you stop reaching out, when you stop hoping for a reaction, you don't just remove yourself from the game. You reset the rules entirely. And that silence you hold, it's louder than any argument, any text, any plea. She notices because the emotional leash you once wore has been removed, and with it, your heart is no longer a territory to be claimed or controlled. This is not about punishment or proving a point. It's about quiet dignity and unshakable self-respect. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Detachment isn't about losing love or feeling empty. It's about mastering your inner world, holding your peace sacred, and walking forward with a calm confidence that needs no audience. That is the power you've been seeking all along. Number 2. She expected you to stay broken. Let's be honest with yourself. She never expected you to rise. In her mind, you were destined to linger in the shadows of what was, waiting, hurting, reaching out for scraps of attention. She assumed you'd be tethered to the past, defined by your pain and longing for her return. But here you are, not out of spite or anger, but from a place of quiet clarity. You didn't break down or beg for answers. Instead, you built a life that no longer needs her presence or approval. This transformation, subtle and steady, becomes a reflection she never anticipated, a mirror that reveals not your wounds, but the misjudgment she made in underestimating your strength. Most men overlook this evolution, caught in denial or blinded by their love, unable to see that growth isn't about reclaiming her, but reclaiming yourself. True power lies not in explanations or demands, but in composed silence and unwavering self-respect. You don't owe her your pain or your story. Your value is not measured by her understanding. As the Stoics teach us, control what is within. Your power, your mind, your actions, your peace, and let everything else fall away. In this silence, you become unshakable, grounded in the knowledge that your worth is yours alone to define. Number 3. Silence isn't emptiness, it's power. Most men mistake silence for weakness, as if not speaking means surrender or defeat. But true silence, quiet, deliberate, rooted in self-respect, is far from passive. It's a clear message you send, not with words, but with presence. I no longer need you to understand me because I understand myself. This kind of silence is a fortress built from knowing your worth and refusing to be controlled by another's absence or approval. She may not say it outright, and often won't even consciously recognize it. But she feels the shift deep down. Where once her silence could unsettle you, make you question, pull at your attention like a magnet, now it bounces off your calm resolve. You have reclaimed your emotional currency, the power to decide where your focus goes and when your energy is spent. That emotional pull she once held over you is gone, and that absence feels like a ghost limb, intangible yet profoundly felt. It lingers in the background, a quiet reminder that something has changed irreversibly. Most men, however, deny this shift or confuse it with bitterness or loss because they mistake dependence for love. But the Stoic man knows better. He understands that true power is found in self-mastery, not reaction. When you embrace silence as your shield and your statement, you do not lose control, you reclaim it. This silence, full of purpose and peace, is the most profound form of communication. It tells the world you are whole, unshaken, and no longer defined by anyone else's presence or absence. That is strength. That is freedom. Number 4. Your growth is her wake-up call. Now she doesn't just miss the man you once were. She wrestles with the man you've become. She wonders if you were weak before or simply evolving beyond the limits she understood. Did she truly lose you? Or did you quietly outgrow the place she thought you'd stay? This is the unseen consequence of walking away from a man who is still in the middle of his transformation. You didn't plead or break down. You didn't cling to what was comfortable or familiar. Instead, you embraced the uncomfortable process of growth with quiet resolve. You became more than the version she knew, a man centered in his own purpose, no longer orbiting around someone else's approval. When your calm, unshakable peace drowns out her silence, that's when your presence becomes something she can't ignore. Not because you sought to unsettle her, but because you finally unsettled the part of yourself that settled for less than you deserve. Most men never recognize this shift. They mistake patience for weakness or mistake love for a reason to stay stuck. But true strength lies in knowing when to step back and let your growth speak louder than any argument or apology. The Stoics teach us that control over oneself is the greatest power. Control over your reactions, your emotions, your attachments. When you refuse to chase, you reclaim your dignity. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where your self-respect lives. And from that silence, you rise, not for her, but for yourself. Number 5. You were her emotional safety net. Even when she walked away, a part of her quietly believed you'd remain, emotionally present, mentally tethered, silently holding space she never fully acknowledged. Without knowing it, you became her safety net, the fallback she leaned on when everything else felt uncertain. She moved on, but the comfort of your steady presence lingered like an unspoken promise she took for granted. Most men never see this invisible thread, caught in denial or love. They keep reaching, hoping to restore what's already slipped away. But when you finally sever that connection, not with anger or drama, but with calm resolve, you don't vanish, you liberate yourself. You stop offering the emotional insurance she never asked to pay for, the place she once filled in your mind. And heart is now occupied by purpose, discipline, and an unwavering peace. This is not about punishment, it's about reclaiming your center. The strength lies in your silence, in choosing your own growth over reactive longing. As the Stoics teach us, true power is not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. By stepping back with dignity, you honor your own value and refuse to be the background noise in someone else's story. You become whole, not because she returned, but because you stopped needing her presence to feel complete. In that quiet space, you find freedom. Number 6. Your peace speaks louder than any comeback. Most men crave a dramatic comeback. They want the world to see her notice, to hear the echoes of their pain or triumph in a text, a call, or a public display. But true growth, the kind that changes you at your core, asks for no audience. It doesn't seek applause or validation because it knows that real strength is quiet. You don't need to post updates to prove you're moving on. You don't reply to messages to confirm your worth. Instead, you simply live, rooted in your peace, disciplined in your habits, and steady in your evolution. This calm transformation unsettles her more than any outburst ever could. She might not reach out. She might never voice what she feels. Yet, your silence will resonate in her thoughts far longer than any spoken word. Peace is power, and when you claim that power, you reclaim yourself. Most men miss this because denial or lingering love keeps them tethered to the noise of reaction. But you know better. You understand that control over your emotions is your greatest freedom. You know that silence, when wielded with self-respect, is not absence, it is presence on your own terms. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence is not emptiness. It is the loudest message of all. If this message reaches something quiet but unshakable inside you, it means you're standing at a crossroads many men never see. You're choosing the difficult path, not the one of loud declarations or fleeting distractions, but the steady, silent work of reclaiming your power. Most men avoid this. They resist because it means facing uncomfortable truths, that chasing approval, replaying old wounds, or holding on to what's lost only weakens you. They drown in denial or cling to love that demands too much. But you're different. You're learning that true strength doesn't come from noise or reaction. It comes from calm control over your own mind and emotions. This is not just content you're watching. It's a movement, a brotherhood of men who have decided they are done chasing ghosts and are ready to build something real. So if you feel this, support it. Like the video, leave a sign in the comments, even as simple to show you're rising, and subscribe to Stoic 95 to keep walking this path with others who understand. Remember, the greatest power is not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. It's the silence that commands respect, the self-mastery that no one can take from you, and the quiet confidence that moves mountains without a sound. Control your mind, honor your worth, and let your silence speak louder than any word. That is the mark of a man who has truly become free.